Hello and welcome. You're watching Race to Power. My name is Mohammed Saleh. And on the show today, the winner of the Nobel Prize for Peace for the year 2025 has been announced. And no, it isn't the American President Donald Trump who's won the top honor. Instead, it is Maria Corina Machado, Venezuela's opposition leader in hiding, who's been chosen by the Nobel Committee for the top honors. And in Pakistan, the protesters of the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan have hit the streets of Islamabad as they attempt to march towards the US embassy, demonstrating against the US backing of the Israeli war on the Gaza Strip, and also terming the Pakistani government's backing of Trump's plan for the Gaza Strip to be a sellout by the Shehbaz Sharif government. But let's, of course, start with what, of course, is the big story of the day. The speculation about the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize has now been put to rest. And the winner is Maria Corina Machado, who is Venezuela's opposition leader in hiding, who's won the top honor. When the Nobel Committee called her with the news, Machado reacted to it in complete shock.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Yes.
Hello?
Am I talking to Maria Corina Machado?
Yes, this is Maria Corina.
Yes, Maria Corina. My name is Christian Berg-Alpviken. I am the secretary of the Norwegian Nobel Committee in Oslo. And I'm calling to inform you that in a few minutes it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
So the warmest congratulations to you, Maria.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, I have no words. I thank you so much, but I hope you understand this is a movement. This is a achievement of a whole society. I am just one person. I certainly do not deserve this. Oh my God.
I think both the movement and you deserve it. So I'm sure this comes as a surprise, and I'm sorry to have to wake you up in the middle of the night to convey this. We don't have much time. We actually are making the announcement just in a few minutes. But I want to quote just shortly from the text that will be announced shortly, where it is said that you are receiving the prize for, and here I quote directly from the announcement, for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy.
I'm honored, humbled. I am very grateful on behalf of the Venezuelan people. We're not there yet. We're working very hard to achieve it, but I'm sure that we will prevail, and this is certainly a biggest recognition to our people that certainly deserve it. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
In its announcement, the committee said that Machado is in fact being awarded for her tireless work for promoting the democratic rights for the people of Venezuela, and also for her struggle to achieve a just and a peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy.
As the leader of the democratic forces in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado is one of the most extraordinary examples of civilian courage in Latin America in recent times. Ms. Machado has been a key unifying figure in a political opposition that was once deeply divided, an opposition that found common ground in the demand for free election and representative government.
All right, so who exactly is Miss Mercado? Now, she was born the 7th of October in 1967. Now, she, in fact, studied to qualify as an industrial engineer and is also known as the Iron Lady in Venezuela. Remember, she's in fact studied industrial engineering and finance, and her supporters and allies, she's called the Iron Lady there. Now, before her political stint began, Maria Corina Machado established the Atener Foundation for Street Children in the capital city of Caracas way back in 1992. Now, 10 years later, in 2002, she in fact had co-founded SUMATE, which was a group to promote free and fair elections. And 8 years later, in 2010, this is, of course, what she did. Mercado was elected to Venezuela's National Assembly. But that tenure came to a premature end in 2014 after she was expelled from office. In 2017, Maria Corina Machado founded the Soy Venezuela Alliance to bring all pro-democracy parties under one umbrella alliance. And then in 2023, she announced her presidential candidacy to contest against the incumbent, Nicolas Maduro. But shortly afterwards, Machado was blocked from contesting the elections. When Maduro claimed victory in 2024 presidential polls, Machado was forced to go into hiding. But unlike the opposition figure, Edmundo Gonzalez, who left Venezuela and went into a self-exile, Machado, interestingly, chose to remain within the country, although in hiding, despite the fear of a crackdown. In December 2024, she received the Sakharov Prize from the European Union. So this, of course, is your Nobel Peace Prize winner for the year 2025. And she's, of course, been awarded the prize for her relentless efforts to try and bring freedom to the people in Venezuela. That, of course, is what the Nobel Committee has said. And to help make sense of this and to tell us more on this, we are joined in this broadcast by Mr. Elias Ferrer, who is the founder of Orinoco Research, political and economic analyst. Mr. Ferrer, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, this is a big honor. You know, Maria Corina Machado has been given the Nobel Prize for Peace. What's your first reaction on this?
So this is actually, this is a very big development for Venezuela's political process, right? Because the overwhelming majority of the population want change, and they want it now, and they voted for change in last year's presidential election. There have been some controversies as well, because maybe, you know, it's the Nobel Peace Prize, and she has been someone who has been calling on especially the United States, but also other countries, to intervene militarily in Venezuela, with the idea that the only way to achieve political change is through a foreign military intervention into Venezuela. So there has been some controversy, but I think most people in Venezuela are celebrating this development.
Interesting that you say most people in Venezuela are celebrating this development. You're joining us from Caracas. Now, Nicolas Maduro will turn around and say that he has won the election fair and square, and this is actually just international meddling into Venezuela's politics. How do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, it's true that Maduro did claim victory, but actually Maria Corina Machado's biggest achievement wasn't to topple Maduro or anything like that, or she hasn't made any inroads into that direction. But she did organize her party to have people in every single voting station to then see the voting tallies, and then they were able to prove that her party was her candidate was who actually won the election. And so then, I mean, saying that someone else is trying to meddle in Venezuela's affairs maybe doesn't make a lot of sense if the incumbent president has stolen the election, right? So the idea of sovereignty is a bit strange there.
It's interesting that Maria Corina Machado, who wants the United States to, of course, interfere to try and bring about some kind of a government change, has, of course, been awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace. But it remains to be seen as to what Donald Trump has to say on this. But thank you very much indeed, Mr. Elias Ferrer, for joining us from Caracas in Venezuela to get us that perspective there. All right, now, Donald Trump's Nobel Peace Prize ambitions have been cut short after Venezuela's opposition leader in hiding was declared the winner for the year 2025. Now, several leaders have also supported Donald Trump's pursuit for the top honors. The White House has dismissed the Nobel Committee's decision, alleging that the panel has placed politics over peace. Now, in a post on social media platform X, the White House spokesperson Stephen Chung has written, and I quote, "President Trump will continue making peace deals, ending wars and also saving lives. He has the heart of a humanitarian, and there will never be anyone like him who can move mountains with the sheer force of his will." The Nobel Committee has proven that they've placed politics over peace. Now, interestingly, Trump had posted on Truth Social in support of Maria Corina Machado's movement in January this year. Now, months after Nicolas Maduro won the election, Washington does not recognize Maduro's presidential victory. Through the last weeks, Trump has often claimed credit for what he calls brokering at least 7 peace deals, and more recently calling the Israel-Hamas truce agreement to be his 8th and perhaps his most important peace deal so far. Now, earlier, he had also suggested that the Nobel Committee will, quote-unquote, find a reason not to award him the prize. Now, the American president even said that he deserved it like no other. All right, so this, of course, is what is happening, where Donald Trump, who had put his hat in the ring, who had been hoping that he would be awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace, for bringing to an end at least 7 conflicts, as he's been saying, has not been awarded this Nobel Peace Prize. And my colleague Susan Tehrani is joining us from New York over the phone line. Susan, you know, the fact that Maria Corina Machado has been announced as the Nobel Peace Prize winner would have come as a huge, huge disappointment for the American president, who'd been vying for the top honors. At this moment, has Donald Trump reacted to the fact that he, unfortunately, is not the winner this time round?
Right. Yes, this was really something that so many individuals around the world, they wanted President Trump to win. Of course, he himself had rallied around it as well. We are, remembering that Trump told the UN General Assembly back in September that his efforts to resolve the wars around the world really merited a Nobel. But despite these multiple nominations during his presidency, he never won the prize. So now we are seeing that he is reacting. We're seeing world leaders reacting. We saw that even Vladimir Putin reacted, although not completely. But nonetheless, this is a conversation that's it's going to go on for a few days now.
It is, of course, likely to go on for a few days. Now, the White House, of course, put out a statement saying that Donald Trump will still continue to strike deals to ensure that wars come to an end, and he'll continue with the same enthusiasm as before. But this moment, this is, some would say a setback for Donald Trump, because he did not get the Peace Prize by Nobel. Just very quickly, does Donald Trump still nurse ambitions in future years that he could be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It appears that, like I said, not only is this story not going to go away in the next few days, but I think in future years as well, especially because, his predecessor, Barack Obama, also received the Nobel Peace Prize. So I guess the White House thinks that, it is accessible to the White House. And I don't see him not talking about this moving forward.
Interesting.
And we'll expect them to slam the Nobel Committee, of course, in the next coming days.
Interesting. We'll have to see as to what Donald Trump, of course, has to come out and say. Thank you very much indeed, Susan Tehrani, for joining us from New York with all those updates there. All right, let's now get you some updates from Pakistan, where Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, is on a high alert. This after the protesters clashed with the police following calls for a protest by the Islamist group, the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan. Now, thousands of members of the group tried to march towards the American embassy on Thursday in protest against the killings of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Now, all entry and exit points to Islamabad were sealed off and containers and trailers were stationed at key junctions. The red zone, which is home to the embassies and also key government buildings, has been completely sealed. And additionally, mobile internet services in Islamabad and Rawalpindi were also suspended. And in the Punjab province, prohibitory orders were imposed, banning public gatherings and protests for the next 10 days. The TLP alleges that the Shehbaz Sharif government and the army chief Asim Munir have surrendered to the United States and the Israeli interests by supporting Trump's plan for the Gaza Strip, calling it nothing less than an embarrassment and a sell-off.
No political party has ever had the courage to announce a protest in front of the US Embassy. So it is clear that this blockade is only to please US President Donald Trump. And in their pro-American stance, they have gone so far that they were blindly attacking and targeting us, their fellow unarmed Muslims and Pakistanis, and shelling us.
The Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan's Lahore headquarters was sealed off. The move comes amidst clashes in Lahore, where the TLP supporters attempted to march towards Islamabad in protest, leading to clashes with the police. The TLP claims that the police killed 2 of its members and also injured dozens in the confrontation. At least about 5 police officers were also injured in the clashes that began when the authorities attempted to arrest the group's chief, Saad Hussain Rizvi. The Peru's Congress has impeached President Dina Boluarte on the grounds of moral incapacity. During a special late-night session on Thursday, the lawmakers voted for her removal after growing calls of her ouster from all political parties. After an overwhelming vote removing Boluarte, the ousted president delivered a televised address saying that the Congress that swore her in is the one that kicked her out. The lawmakers replaced Boluarte within moments. Peru now has a new president in Jose Jerry. The vote and swearing-in ceremony took place shortly after midnight, less than an hour after Boluarte was removed. In his maiden address after the oath-taking, Jerry promised to crack down on criminal gangs in the country.
The main enemy is out on the streets, criminal gangs and criminal organizations. They are our enemies today. And as enemies, we must declare war on crime. To do so, we have our national police, we have our armed forces, and we must commit the other institutions of the state.
Now, youth-led protests are gaining momentum across the world and governments are feeling the pressure. From Morocco to Madagascar, young people are demanding for reform and accountability. In Ecuador, nearly 3 weeks of strikes and roadblocks have paralyzed parts of the country after President Daniel Noboa's decision to cut a key diesel fuel subsidy. Now, the organizers behind the protests say that the move has hurt the poor the most, raising diesel prices from about $1.8 to $2.8 a gallon in a country where diesel powers agriculture, fishing and transport. Now, 1 protester is dead and over 100 others have been arrested. The military has now deployed nearly about 5,000 troops to the capital city of Quito to protect public property.
The enemy is not the people, it's the organized crime and corruption in this country. And here they treat us like guinea pigs. Look how hard they're hitting the communes. That's a reality of our country.
Now, Ecuador is not alone, and across the Atlantic, Morocco's youth have in fact taken to the streets for nearly about 2 weeks, calling for reforms in education, housing and healthcare, and for their king to hear them. In Madagascar, about 1,000 protesters marched in the capital city, accusing the government of corruption and nepotism. The protests are also fueled by poverty, power outages and a rising generation demanding for more. And according to the United Nations, about 22 people have died in the protests while dozens more have been injured.
I am here to support this strike to demand our rights because here, in Madagascar, nothing is going well. Initially, we were demanding water and electricity, but in fact, the entire system in Madagascar is failing. In fact, we are also demanding that human rights, which are so trampled upon, be respected because there are no rights left.
Now, Cameroon is bracing for elections on Sunday, that is the 12th of October. In many parts of the country, there is an eerie silence amidst militia and rebel groups that have now resulted in a lockdown. Now, voters in Cameroon will be casting their ballot in an election that will see a contest between the 92-year-old Paul Biya, the world's oldest head of the state, and Issa Chiroma Bakari, the opposition presidential candidate who's looking to change the mandate for once in decades. But persistent problems in the country have generated an air of apathy amongst the voters.
Since 2018, in the past 7 years, what has changed are the roads, which have become even more isolated. The city isn't progressing. To reach the west, it takes 7, 8, even 10 hours to get there. For me, things have only gotten worse. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
It is a little bit kind of complicated. I'm still trying to observe. Well, because I had someone in mind, but which finally was not able to make it. So he was eliminated even before everything could start. So that's the person I had in mind, but now he's no more in the race. So right now I'm still trying to assess the whole thing.
Now, for the first time, voters in Cameroon, they're familiar with only one face as the country's ruler, Paul Biya, who's running for the 8th term, after having assumed office way back in the year 1982.
I'm still having the same president from before I was born, when I was born till now as a grown-up. I feel ashamed, and I feel like I do not see myself in the next maybe 5 years again to maybe be at a leadership position where I will be able to express myself better as a citizen of this country.
New Zealand's parliamentary proceedings came to a halt when people in the public gallery broke into a haka, that's a traditional Maori dance, after the latest lawmaker from the Maori party, Urini Kaipara, finished her maiden speech on Thursday. However, things took a bit of an erratic turn when people in the gallery broke into an impromptu haka without the speaker's prior permission. Take a look at these images. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching.
India's Global Voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
From Alia Bhatt and Deepika Padukone to Selena Gomez and Tom Holland, take a look at celebrities who have been vocal about dealing with mental health issues. Know all about Sean Diddy Combs' case and meet Indian singer Sonu Nigam. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION at these times.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.